Oh, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Runia. Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. 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 Hari Om to everybody.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om.
Pranam Swami.
Pranam, pranam.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om, Hari Om.
Pranam.
Pranam, pranam. Every now and then we have to ask ourselves whether whatever disciplines we are undergoing under the banner of spiritual journey, whether it is yielding the required result. It may be chanting of the name, it may be going to places, meeting Mahatmas, hearing the teachings, wisdom teachings of the Mahatmas. All these things are okay. But periodical evaluation is necessary to see whether it is becoming effective. When we know it is not effective to that extent, then we try to bring in some measures that would help us to move forward. Mostly what happens is, because of our preoccupation with various other activities, where we hardly find any time to hold on to the values we have heard or values we cherish. We find it extremely difficult to hold on to the same. Not that we don't want to hold on to the same. We want to hold on to the same. So for that, Papa says it is all because the purity of the mind is the one which we have to aim at. That means along with the spiritual disciplines, we have to keep on evaluating whether the purity of the mind is there. Otherwise, what happens is, at the time of hearing, at the time of taking part, we get enthused. We are really charged, inspired. But the moment we go back to our field, we find it is definitely not getting that prominence. That priority gets slowly shifted, intensity gets slowly diluted. The me and mine and the problems connected with me and mine overweigh everything. So here we have been advised by Papa that what is required is purity. Purity and innocence adorn the life of one who is godlike. It flows like a sparkling stream, reflecting cosmic radiance and charm. Its vision is one in all and as all. It shines on infinite space and spreads delight everywhere. Blessed is such a life. The June issue of the vision covers or highlights this important aspect. The main prerequisite for a spiritual journey is to have purity of mind. By purity, what is meant is to free the mind from low passions of the heart so that it can steadily move forward and reach the goal of becoming always aware of the indwelling spirit. The truth is very simple, no? All of us are in a position to think, talk, do only because he is there, the indwelling spirit is there. But when we are involved in spiritual disciplines, to some extent we become aware of it. But the moment we are away from it, this awareness slowly gets faded. And here Papa says, the sense of possession and relationship prevent the mind from rising from the lower to the higher state. Periodical satsang to fill the mind space with elevating thoughts, solitude to evaluate the refining process, Satvic diet to free the mind from rajasic and tamasic influences do help in this endeavor. Periodical satsang to fill the mind space with elevating thoughts, solitude to evaluate the refining process of the mind, and Satvic diet to free the mind from rajasic and tamasic influences. Papa says, your life is a current that has started from the eternal source. Make it flow in all its pristine purity so that it may lighten the burden of the weak, relieve the distress of the suffering, elevate the hearts of the depressed, and in short, bring sunshine and delight in the prevailing darkness of the world. With a firm will, destroy all the inimical tendencies that seek to thwart this sweet and glorious consummation. Conquer every selfish craving that tries to pull you down from your onward march toward the summit of your blessedness. Eradicate from the heart all disruptive forces that conspire to keep you in your lower animal nature and ultimately rise superior to them all. Realize the sublimity of your divine self and thus illumine your life with the light, love, and bliss of God. Actually, the in-depth study of In Quest of God is one such opportunity placed before us. When we say in-depth study, we don't just go from chapter to chapter or in a hurry to finish the whole book. At the time of launching this movement, in December last, it is clearly mentioned that In Quest of God is to be treated as a life manual. And when we go through the book with this background, we keep a bag, mental bag, and from each and every chapter, whatever that comes in the form of a tool, we put it in the bag. That means when we go through a particular chapter, there are certain things that stand out in our mind, and then we are finding for ourselves where there is an inner alignment with that. And where there is an inner alignment, we do manana, and that is the process by which we keep it in our bag. So that in a similar situation, we may be able to make use of this approach. We may not be able to fully follow Papa's path, but at least something of it, something of it can be tried when we are confronted with such similar situations. This should not be forgotten. So when Papa says purity of mind is essential and satsang helps a lot, it doesn't mean simply hearing and going. It is trying to find out what is it that after closing the chapter, what is it that stays with me, with which I have an inner alignment. Not because Papa said or somebody said, no. There should be an inner alignment. I felt aligned to it. And such things we do intense manana. So day before yesterday we made a suggestion that yesterday was the ashram's 91st Jayanti. 15th May 1931 was the founding day of this ashram. So yesterday was 15th May. As you know, ashram does not celebrate anything. But at the same time, it is not to be forgotten by aspirants. A day which reminds us of the bounteous gifts given to us by Papa. So we make a in-depth study of how we were drawn to Papa, how he made us to taste the sweet Ram Nam, how he made us to develop love for Guru's words, and engage ourselves in some activities that are in line with the Guru's life and mission. So yesterday was an occasion and today we are meeting again. So as we said earlier, we will try to find out before entering into the text again today. All of us will join in pointing out those teachings or those clues, those hints which we have gathered from the whole text. We request everybody to join. Everybody can suggest one. Of the 37 chapters, what is it that stands out in our mind? From each chapter. It need not necessarily be in the chronological order, because they are values. Have you made it clear?
Yes, Swamiji.
Everyone should join this. We are trying to find out whether, after repeated readings, after repeated hearings, whether there is anything that stands out in our memory which gets an inner alignment. Then only we will be able to remember. That inner alignment is very, very important. That is the one which helps us to remember it. The moment we open
Hari Om Swamiji, can I?
Yes, come on.
Hari Om Swamiji,
Ah.
can I say something?
Yes.
You just said that everybody should join and they should be able to tell that if the repeated things that we are doing here, if it is able to get the repeated alignment. Swamiji, in fact, I would say that you are doing a awesome, great service. I come from a teaching background, and as a teacher, we are told that when you are teaching to children, I create training content for children also, for adults, for the corporate world also. And what happens is, as our instructional design theory states, it says that people start following things when there is an interconnected schema in the brain. And how is that so first what happens is, when you start with knowledge, when you start feeding knowledge, it's then those schemas, they start building up, but then they are not interconnected. But when we continuously repeat it and practice it, it's then those schemas start becoming interconnected, and that's when the actual realization, I'm not just talking about the learning, I'm using the word realization here, and that's when the actual realization takes place. So what we are doing here with you, in this forum, and also there is another forum that we attend at around 3 p.m. with Preeti ji and everybody. So there we are discussing and looking at the practical aspect, and also now here we are doing the repetition of whatever Papa and Mataji has talked about. So it is helping us create those schemas, and it's like, it's really, really helping us. If not, we are not, if not, we are realized so, but I'm sure, in this birth itself, Swamiji, you are facilitating that for us. And I really feel this repetition also. And people say that in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna repeats lots of things. There are lots of repetition.
Yeah.
And Lord Krishna, I would say that when I became an instructional designer, and we were like taught instructional design theories, I was like that Lord Krishna has already put into place instructional design thing, what our later philosophers and theorists, they later put into place, and then they gave it the term of instructional design, because Lord Krishna, he does repeat lots of things to Arjun because he ensures that whatever I am teaching to Arjun, it gets ingrained in his mind and he ultimately becomes a realized soul. And in that span, at the end of Bhagavad Gita, we see this happening when Arjun says, and there is the slok of Nashto Mohas. I'm sorry, I don't remember the entire slok, but yeah. So yeah, and so Swamiji, thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. It's a beautiful experience that you are giving us through this forum. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari Om. Yes, repeated action. Anything that is repeated consistently leaves a mark. So here when we say that which stands out in each and every chapter, number one, and where it gets aligned within. So many things may be there. All of us have got our own innate tendencies, our preferences, priorities, our inclinations, aptitude, so many things are there. Then, so we will definitely, when we read one chapter, there is something which will definitely be captured by us, especially when it is repeated. Even if I miss for the first time or second time or third time, when it is repeated again and again, suddenly, oh, that is that. So today we are trying, never bother about the chronological order. Anything that comes out, we are keeping it in our bag, where we can take it out. The tool, when you say manual, when a gadget is bought, a manual is given, how to operate, number one, and when it goes wrong, how to set it right. All those things are given by the manual. So in life, we are confronted with different situations, plus, minus, positive, negative, good, bad, favorable, unfavorable. And at that time, how do we deal with men and matters, which will ultimately help me in my journey toward the ultimate. So this is what we are now trying by the grace of God. So anybody can begin in one or two words. There may be a starting trouble. So we will start.
Jnanothara Bhakti.
Jnanothara Bhakti. Very good.
Swamiji, pranams.
Pranam. Eh?
Is for a good.
Audio.
Faith in Papa.
Faith in Papa.
Audio
Faith in God. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, faith in God. Jnanottara Bhakti. Then
surrendering to the God.
surrender.
And strong belief on
Oneness in mind.
Surrender and accepting every situation cheerfully. And oneness with Him. Okay. Then
Meditative chanting, Swami.
Meditative chanting.
Very good.
Internal communication with God.
Regular communication with God. Very good. Yes.
God is everywhere.
Swamiji, knowing that He is the sole protector, He gives yoga kshemam. Everything is provided by Him.
So you can say He is the giver, He is the taker.
Yes.
Yes, then.
Swamiji, non-judgment.
Non-judgmental. Okay.
Dialogue.
Huh?
Dialogue.
Dialogue, somebody said. Everyone, please join. Don't worry about anything. Just say. Hari Om.
Not willing, that is always to be away from the comfort zone.
Simple living. Okay. Yeah. Then.
Expansive inclusion.
Expansive inclusion. Yes. Then.
Constant remembrance.
Constant remembrance. Good.
Solitude. Swami. Solitude.
Solitude, resorting to periodical solitude. Very good.
Periodical.
Everything is positive.
Always be
Positive.
positive. Very good. Then. 13. Very good.
Accepting the situation.
Accepting all situations.
That has been covered. Surrender and accepting all situations.
Swamiji,
Ah.
not planning for future.
God arranges all things. Okay.
Yes.
Please join people who have not said. Don't worry about the rights and wrongs. Whatever you say is right.
It is Satsang, Satvic Diet, Guruji.
Satsang?
Satvic Diet.
Satsang, Satvic Diet. Very good. 15.
Swamiji,
Hari Om, Swamiji.
sincere in our, sincere and earnest in our this path. We must be very earnest.
You can say perseverance. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. We should not leave.
No
Okay.
otherness, Swamiji.
No otherness. Very good. 17.
Swamiji,
Ah.
knowing everything is test from God.
Knowing everything as a test from God.
Very important. Everything is a test. Every situation is a test.
Test it.
Good.
Swamiji, living in present.
Living
In present.
Need-based life. Need-based life, Swami.
Need-based life, not desire-based life. Okay, good.
Yes. Love conquers hate, Swami. Love conquers hate.
Love conquers hate.
Love conquers hate. 20.
Always on the positive side, Swami.
Positive side, no negative.
It has already come. 20. Shruti. Little.
Swami, God never punishes.
Repeating God's name. Constant chanting has come.
Already.
Yes.
God never punishes, somebody says.
Okay.
Company of great souls.
Grace, nobody said that.
Company of great souls.
Company of great soul. Yes. 22.
Swamiji,
1 minute. Contentment. Good. 23.
holding on the truth even in trying moments.
Holding on to the truth even in trying moment.
Trying moments.
Yeah. Badrinath. Very good.
Swamiji,
Ah.
our prayer should be to Papa, please take us forward to be a part of you. Like that, our prayer should be.
Prayer
From
should
the heart.
be from the bottom of the heart.
Bottom of the heart.
Yes. 25. Very good. Then.
Clarity in the vision, Swamiji. Clarity in the vision.
Clarity in the vision. Okay. Vision of what?
Vision of self-realization, Swami.
Take care. 26.
Nobody is stranger.
Nobody is a stranger. Very good. 27.
Remove I and me.
I-ness and mine-ness.
Remove the i-ness and mine-ness. 28. Then.
Don't give more importance to body, Swami. Don't give more importance to body.
Don't give importance to body. Don't pamper the body.
Don't pamper the body. Okay, 29.
Feeling always the God. Feeling always the God arranges all things in the own way.
That is,
in his own way.
yeah, it has been covered. It has been covered. God arranges all things in His own way. At
In his own way.
at the time He appoints.
God is inside only. God is within.
Always remain attuned to presence of God.
Pardon?
Hari Om.
Always remain attuned to the presence of God.
Always feel the presence of God.
Okay, 31.
God is inside only. Don't stand outside.
God is inside as well as outside. First we have to realize Him within. Then only we will be able to realize Him without.
He is the friend of the poor.
Friend of the poor.
Kanama means mysterious
33.
power.
Very important. First one is, before we start, before he introduces Ram, he says, who is Ram? Ram is the subtle and mysterious power, who is behind everything, who is in all, who is all in all. So that means the clarity about the word God, the word Atman, the word Spirit, Ram. So Ram stands for that subtle and mysterious power.
That is
34.
truth, love, goal of human perfection.
Again, it cannot be defined. The moment we defined, it is not that. So that's why it's called mysterious power. Neither it is tangible, nor it is palpable, nor it is knowable. Only we can feel it. Just because we are existing, we feel His presence. Gandhiji rightly says, God exists because I exist. I exist because God exists. That much clarity should be there. Then, 30 or 30.
Nearness should be developed.
Nearness should be developed.
Nearness should be
Nearness should be developed. Then, 35, 36.
The source of joy.
Money
Source
is the
of happiness.
Yes. Please repeat.
Source of happiness.
Source of happiness.
Okay.
Responding non-violently to provocate situation.
Responding non-violently to provocating situation. Yes, that's a wonderful point. 37. Then,
communion with God.
Communion
power.
already has come.
you mean, okay. Communication with God, communion with God. Okay.
Nothing is unimportant, insignificant.
Nothing is unimportant, nothing is insignificant, nothing is irrelevant.
Because everything is God's.
Irrelevant.
Very good.
Yes.
Nothing is irrelevant, nothing is unimportant, nothing is insignificant. Because everything is God's.
Yes, sir.
We may not be able to live up to it. At least we have accepted it as an ideal. And the first chapter, and in the first chapter, there is one very important thing.
Consciousness of unity is allowed.
First chapter, something.
Eh?
Is it something that enough is enough of everything in the world?
In the first chapter,
Understanding great
first
void.
page.
Understanding great void.
That is important, no? If we can understand great void, we have understood everything.
The cry was heard. That is also important.
Great void.
I was heard.
Swamiji,
Huh?
trying to find out the inner voice of the God.
Intuition.
Differentiate between the individual and the power, the voice of the power.
Acha. Trying to understand the difference between our own thoughts and the promptings we get directly from him. No? That is what you mean.
Yes, Swami.
No.
Swamiji, accepting everything as will of God.
Okay, the acceptance, it has already come. 38.
Money is covered?
Swamiji,
Ah.
Ananya Bhakti or unconditional love?
Ananya Bhakti. Yes.
Swamiji, you tell what is the most important point.
What is the most important point you tell Swamiji?
Relying on inner guru.
Yes, Swamiji.
Relying on all matters, whatever that has been spelled out by all of you are all equally important. But this is very, very important because Papa stands for this. He has not depended upon any external factors for his spiritual progress.
World itself is a guru.
So he was relying on the inner guru. He was free from traditions, customs, rituals, organized approach in spirituality, nothing. He was purely relying on God within. He did not crowd around a guru. He did not join an organization. He did not go through any of the traditional ways of approach. But he could do this. So what he has, many a time he has made it very clear that Satsang is necessary, meeting Mahatmas is necessary, trying to understand their teachings necessary, but ultimately what is to be applied in one's life should be taken from within. Because that alone will become practically implementable, if there is a word. Otherwise, we hear somebody, we say, nice, nice. We may not be able to do it. But when it comes from our own, that means it can be implemented. It can become a part of us. Kindly think about the examinations, When we go to the classes, the teachers teach us, textbook is there, everything is okay. But they are all external factors. But at the end of the year, they conduct an examination. That examination will touch and kindle the level of your assimilation, absorption of the theme, not learning by heart, Absorption of the theme. The questions will be framed in such a way that it touches and kindles in you, and what you have understood from this, you have to put it in your own language. So here, the world we live in is also a school where observation and experience teach us so many lessons. But do we take it seriously? If we take it seriously, when throughout IQG, in quest of God, whether he is in Jhansi, whether he is in Himalayas, whether he is in Muchukundashram, whether he is in Tirupati, everywhere we find, there are so many things he has observed. And immediately he will say, oh Ram, how good. That means the learning has gone inside, observation and experience. So that is why Papa gives 100% importance for inner guru, inner guide. That means after hearing all these things, we should try to dig out what is really ours, original. Even the prayers should become original. We know that from our experience. We have been repeating the prayer. Has it gone inside? We used to feel guilty when we repeat the universal prayer, because we are telling what is not true. O Lord of the universe, O Creator, Protector, Destroyer of the world, I come in all humility to thy holy feet, surrender myself entirely to thee. We have not surrendered. But for decades we have been repeating. Not years, decades. We have not surrendered anything. So we need not blame. Papa brought it out, the prayer. It is original for him. By giving us an original prayer, he is indirectly asking us to draft our own original prayer. Otherwise, it will be Control C, Control V, which will hardly have any deep impact. We are watching ourselves. We every day say, Jya Sali Hai, Manajaya Maje, Tya Sali Hai, Nijarupa Tuje. Do we really mean? Because we are repeating. But why then it was included? Not to make us untrue statement. That will touch and kindle. Otherwise, we will not know about prayer. So after repeating it for so many days, we suddenly look at ourselves. What am I doing? Make me thine and thine only. We repeat. Do we mean? He is seated inside. Have we handed over anything to him? Are we trying to hand over? Make me thine and thine only means, we are seeking his intervention. Are we seeking his intervention? So the in quest of God teaches a lot. Anyway, we are very happy by his grace.
Purification of the mind தான் நம்மளுக்கு ரொம்ப
முக்கியம். That's why we started.
Purification of the mind.
ஆமா.
அப்போ நம்ம மனசை பியூரிஃபை பண்ணிட்டு பியூரிஃபை பண்ணும்போது பப்பா கிட்ட கேட்டுக்கணும்.
ஆமா. Purify பண்றதுக்கு the very act of purification, will give us the positive feeling. We would have failed after some time again. One craving comes, one desire comes, one low tendency comes. Suddenly we do something and somebody doesn't recognize, immediately we get wounded. We may not express, but in our heart. That means there is an expectation. So these are all impure thoughts. Suddenly we remember, when we were traveling with Papa in IQG, has he ever attempted to take credit of anything? Even when somebody asked him to pray for the free from fever, and when that devotee was free from fever, what was his immediate say? Ram's will. It was purely Ram's. So zero expectation, not least, zero expectation from the world. Always seeing the hand. That means purity of mind enables us to recognize this. I have not done anything. He made me to say that. He made me to impress upon them. Even when he goes and touches the forehead of a person who is having running temperature, he will feel it from the bottom of the heart. O Lord, try to cure him. It is unbearable for him. So purity of the heart is very, very essential. And the least expectation, we were talking about that. So whenever we have these usual, cravings, infatuations, desire, expectations, for no fault of us, suppose somebody says something, we get immediately wounded. When all these things come to us, if IQG parades before us, he made us to remember about 37 values from it. It is superb. It is his grace. So we try.
Swamiji, one more important point is to see God in His creation.
See God in His creation. That means not limited to anything. Not limited to idols, not limited to persons, not limited to Mahatmas, but see Him in everything. Whether it is reptiles, whether it is scorpions, whether it is mountains, whether it is rivers, whether it is people, he was able to see Him in everything. Varied manifestations. Though they are varied, he was able to see the common denominator, God. It may be a tall order for all of us, but still we will keep it as an ideal.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Anything more?
Hari Om Swamiji.
Yes, Hari Om.
You were mentioning about the absorption and assimilation, connection with teaching and how much you absorb and writing the examination. No, that is okay. Once you pass the examination and get proper marks, it's okay. But when we proceed higher up, we cannot afford to forget those. So we need revision. We need recapitulation. So I think that is very important.
Yeah, very much. These are all stages. And that is why when we finally reach the postgraduate stage, and when when the prompting comes to take a PhD, we have to give a thesis on a particular subject. That is, what is the assimilation so far? And if it is acceptable to the panel, it will be helpful in framing statutes, in so many ways. That is why PhD has been included. Because when the concentrated effort is on a particular subject, it will unearth many more revelations. And that comes out, it will be useful for the humanity in general, or the world in general. Even we say today, if so many talks are going on for eco-friendly this and that, it has all come out from people who have made a lot of research on this. So the PhD is an outcome of a repeated, deep study.
Thank you.
So in spiritual matters also, we have to apply the same formula. Just let's say Papa used to say reading of scriptures or giving lectures, it will not help unless it goes within. So then only we remember or we realize that why is he insisting that we should rely on the inner guru? Because relying on inner guru means we are going deep down within ourselves. We are not looking up to somebody's. We are trying to get the answers from within. So that means whatever that is there, we are trying to unearth. Something like PhD, So that is why all the Mahatmas who have scaled the heights, now take for example, easy to understand, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, like Papa. Bhagavan did not go anywhere, Did he join any ashram? Did he take up the usual traditional Brahma Vidya? Was he roaming about? No. The moment the revelation came to him, he sat and he did not move. And always, whatever he says, it comes from deep within. Papa, though he would have taken a yatra, because that was for a different mission. When Papa was asked, why should you go out when God is here itself? What did he say? Does anybody remember the word? God is everywhere, but he wants to have this fact actually proved. by going to all places and realizing his presence everywhere. We should be very, very clear, otherwise we may jump into the conclusion that for spirituality we have to go out. Certainly not. God is everywhere, but Ram wants Ramdas to have this fact actually proved by going to all places and realizing his presence everywhere. So there also he was relying on inner guru, not out. Outer guru, they have a role to play. Just like when Papa said God does not need an intermediary, we need an intermediary to tell us that God does not need an intermediary. After that, we have to go within. If you think God can talk through Ramdas, he can talk through you as well, because you cannot accuse him of partiality. Switch on your wire for direct communication. Why do you deny him in your heart? The last word, if you remember, why do you deny him in your heart? That means you have to tap it from there. He is there, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. We have been told all these words by our spiritual preceptor. So, and he says, you try to go, switch on the wire for direct communication. Why do you deny him in your heart? And you are searching for all these things outside, when he is there, right within you. So that is one of the very important teachings, IQG. It doesn't mean that Papa is belittling the importance of the wisdom of sages. No. All those things are necessary to give us the direction. But again, clinging on to them, that will not help much. He is very, very, very clear about it. In one of his, he says, Satsang or association with a saint is indeed valuable, but it must be of the right kind. Internal contact must be established. Otherwise, there is danger of the aspirant's mind getting externalized and remaining attached to the physical person of the saint, missing the impersonal truth which the saint embodies. Without reaching the depths of the inner reality represented by the saint, one cannot reap the full benefits of satsang. One must take care not to fall into the error of thinking that a saint's grace can be won by adoring merely his body and serving him without looking upon all beings as his expressions and serving them with an equal vision. There is nothing more dangerous to an aspirant than a narrow personal attitude. His progress depends on the extent to which he is able to expand his heart and universalize his outlook. And again, of course, he says, one cannot rise beyond a certain stage of spiritual advancement if he is bound to any institution. In spiritual matters, the best rules are those which are not made by others, but self-imposed by the Guru from within. So the IQG gives us all these important things. 37. Anything more? 5 minutes more.
Swamiji, one more point. So we have to have our own prayer in our own language to have connect with Ram.
Yeah, if you can do that, we will find, the moment you start drafting, you will find the joy. Because it is coming from the source. You are not copying somebody's, you are not repeating somebody's words. Though all those things are necessary in the initial stages. How long can we depend upon external factors? And only when we depend upon the inner guru, then our progress will be fast, faster and fastest. You said something?
We are taught, means right from childhood we think love means affinity or something like that, no? Liking. Any intense liking is called love. But Papa says it is consciousness of unity. Means it is fully impersonal, no, Swami? And whenever we are serene and happy, we are conscious of some unity.
Yeah. Love stands for consciousness of unity. That is there in the first article. Love of Ram means love of all beings, creatures and things in this world. Because Ram is in all is in Ram. Ram is all in all. Where is that word? To wake up from the illusion of forms is to realize at once the unity or love of Ram. Unity or love of Ram. Love of Ram means love of all beings. To realize these great truths, infinite power. Consciousness of the body which keeps us, find ourselves in a state of
Consciousness of unity is realized. Almost last line. Last line, some one line.
Yeah. In this condition, hatred, which means consciousness of diversity, ceases, and love, consciousness of unity, is realized. It's also a very vital aspect. Please go through it again and again. In this condition, hatred, which means consciousness of diversity, ceases, and love, consciousness of unity, is realized. So love means not merely the affinity, it's also the consciousness of unity. Yes, somebody wanted to say something?
Reducing the wants lead a simple life.
Simple life, it has been covered. Reducing the wants. Great void, prayer from the bottom of the heart, freedom from me and mine, freedom from traditions, grace, surrender and acceptance, expansive inclusion. Nobody or nothing is exempted. No, everybody comes in our fold. Spontaneity, that was not. Spontaneity born of egoless purity. Test comes unawares. Every situation is a test. Be positive, react non-violently, hold on to truth, hold on to integrity. You remember, 2 rupees was given to him when he was going to Prachi and as cart hire. So after 5 minutes he got down because the person who was driving, he was beating the bullocks, which Papa could not accept. So he got down, and at the same time, he should not be denied of this. He gave him 1 rupee. Then 16 miles he walked. And again after the darshan, he came back 16 miles. The first thing he did was to return that 1 rupee to the giver. Because that was given for cart hire. He did not make use of it for cart hire. Integrity, honesty. And who is Ram? Jnanothara Bhakti. Simple living. Solitude. Every now and then Papa has resorted to solitude. So he is telling us. Satsang, Satvic Diet. Universal vision. Universal vision. Religion and universality. It is very, very important about this. Because then only we will be able to accept the universality of the Lord. Religion and universality. Small book. We all breathe the same air. Very important. The life principle that activates all beings is the same. The life force in all of us, Everybody is born, then everybody dies. We all breathe the same air, walk on the same earth, and are equally entitled to the enjoyment of the amenities which nature provides. Earth yields its rich gifts to all alike. The difference between man and man on the material plane are in truth unnatural, improper. Why? The component parts and the composition of human beings, and the qualities inherent in them are not diverse and conflicting. Everybody needs these 5 sense organs, Everybody needs these 5 organs of action. Everything is, we start thinking what are all common in everybody. If we look with the pure vision that belongs to an enlightened mind, we do not see any clear-cut line of demarcation that isolates man from man, one set of people from another, one nation from another. We are indeed parts of a stupendous whole. We are units that form the world community or family, so we can live and act as members of the world brotherhood or federation. That is why in Papa's IQG this question came, universal vision. Nowhere he met a stranger. Nobody was a stranger to him.
Unity of consciousness.
Just imagine. Nobody was a stranger to him. So this universality. So that is the outcome. None of us will be able to reach that stage straight away. It is the outcome of a long-drawn practice. And relying on inner Guru, he alone is the giver, meditating and chanting, constant dialogue, God arranges the world we live in. True, one thing we have not added is true portrayal of the Lord's dearest devotee, as explained in 12th chapter.
Adveshta sarva bhutana.
Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitra karunaya vaja. Just think, IQG you start bringing. Nirmamo nirahankaraha samadukka sugakshami santushta satatam yogi yatatma dridhanishchayaha mayarpida manobuddhihi yomad bhakta same priya. Like that there are 7 slokas. If we take the essence or the word meaning of all and then go through the IQG, we will find clear portrayal. Asmano dvijate logo, like that, you will make a list, and which chapter, which incident. This is how the research starts. Then we find, it's a clear portrayal. That is why he became the dearest devotee of the Lord. Not that he learned Bhagavad Gita and practiced it. God made him to blossom it like that. And then for people like us, who have understood, who have read his life, who have at least heard his life, and who have heard the 7 slokas, then when we tally both, we find, it's a true portrayal. So like that, we are very, very happy. Papa has been extremely kind to all of us to remember. And today we can say, yes, there is an in-depth study that is going on. More of this tomorrow.
Did we pass?
Everybody got a 75% marks.
Thank you, Swami. It's all because of you.
70. Okay. And when we reach the summit, we get 100. We will reach the 100. No doubt about it. At this pace.
Can we reach?
All of us can reach.
Will.
Papa has assured us. Of course, we have to pay the price. It won't come by itself. We have to make it conducive for God to make us to declare that, yes, I am you. So that also we have to do. நல்ல பறவையா தந்திருக்காரு, அதனால தானே இப்போ பேசிட்டு இருக்கோம். ஆமாம். துர்லபம் திரயமேவை தது தெய்வானுகிரக ஹேதுகம் மனுஷ்யத்வம் முமுக்ஷத்வம் மகாபுருஷ சம்சய. So Manishyatam we have got, Mumukshattam we have got, Mahavurusha Samshaya we have got. So we are all the privileged categories, selected categories. If we don't recognize,
we couldn't follow it.
We could not.
We couldn't follow it now, Swamiji.
We are following the three Manushyatvam, the human birth.
Yes.
Then Mumukshatvam means a deep, intense desire or aspiration to realize him. Realize the liberation from the clutches of me and mine, of all limitations. Then Mahavurusha Samshaya, company of great souls. So all these things we have almost qualified. Now something more is required. If all of us try individually, we will get the 100%. May we all reach the summit soon. Hari Om. Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Pranam, Hari Om to everybody.